Put your wallet down, immediately.
Sir, I found it on...
The security guard was furious.
I said put it down! Hands up!
I was just trying to return it.
Return it? You? A black kid, you stole it!
His hands trembled. The security guard stepped closer.
A black dog dares to trespass on my property. And I'm supposed to believe a hungry little thief showing up at midnight with $10,000 out of kindness?
Silence. He hadn't eaten since yesterday. $3 in his pocket, a loaf of bread for him and his grandmother at home. He'd walked past every store, taken 3 buses in the rain, and gotten straight here. Not to beg, just to return it. He could keep it. He didn't do that. And what happened next completely changed his life. 12 hours earlier, Tyler Williams woke up to the sound of coughing. Not the small kind, the deep, rattling kind that made the walls feel thin. His grandmother, Nora Phillips, stood at the kitchen sink, one hand on the counter, the other pressed against her chest. 68 years old, 3 medications she couldn't afford, a body that was giving up faster than she'd ever admit. "Grandma, sit down." "I'm fine, baby." "You're not fine. Sit." She sat. He opened the cabinet. Half a box of rice, 1 can of beans, no bread, no eggs, no milk. The kind of empty that doesn't echo, it just stares back at you. Her pill bottles lined the counter, 2 empty, 1 almost gone. Refill wasn't for another 11 days. He poured the last handful of cereal into a bowl and placed it in front of her. Then he filled a glass of water for himself. "Where's yours?" "I already ate." "Tyler James Williams, don't you lie to me in my own kitchen." He kissed her forehead. She caught his wrist. Thin fingers, iron grip. "Your mama would be so proud of who you are. Don't you ever let this world make you hard." He grabbed his jacket and walked out the door. Behind him, the fridge hummed, nearly empty, just like everything else in that apartment. The peeling wallpaper, the one working lamp, the leak in the ceiling they'd stopped putting a bucket under because the bucket had a hole too. 6:15 a.m., Hank's Diner. Tyler tied his apron and hit the floor before the first customer sat down. Coffee, plates, refills, wipe the counter, repeat. 4 hours of "excuse me" and "yes ma'am" and "coming right up," all with a smile he built from scratch every morning. Hank Dawson, 62, thick arms, a face like cracked leather, watched him from the kitchen window. Halfway through the rush, he slid a plate of scrambled eggs across the pass. "Eat." "I'm good, Hank." That wasn't a question. Tyler ate standing up. First food in 31 hours. He didn't taste it. He inhaled it. 3 p.m. Save Mart Grocery, second shift. Stocking shelves, heavy boxes, fluorescent lights that buzzed like trapped insects. A woman in the cereal aisle snapped her fingers at him. Actually snapped, like calling a dog. "Hey, you! Where's the organic oatmeal?" "Aisle 6, ma'am." "I just came from aisle 6. "I'll walk you there." She didn't say thank you. He didn't expect her to. Stack, lift, shelve. His mind ran the same math it always did. $3.12 after tips. Not enough for medicine. Barely enough for bread. By 10:45 p.m., his body was finished. 16 hours on his feet. His back screamed. His stomach had gone past hunger into something quieter, a dull, hollow ache that lived behind his ribs. $3.12 in his pocket. 1 loaf of bread. That's all it could buy. For him and Grandma. Split down the middle. 10:48 p.m. Bus stop. The last bus pulled away exactly 30 seconds before he reached the stop. Tyler watched the taillights blur in the rain. Gone. He started walking. 11 blocks in, something caught his eye. Near a storm drain. Leather. Dark brown. Expensive. A wallet. Not the kind you buy at a gas station. The kind that costs more than rent. He picked it up. Opened it. Driver's license. Dorothy Crawford. Address. 845 Ashton Hills Drive. A neighborhood he'd only ever seen through bus windows. A black American Express card. And cash. He counted it twice. $10,000. His hands shook. Not from the cold. Nobody would know. He could walk into any store right now and eat for the first time in weeks. $10,000 could pay the electric bill 3 times over. 6 months of Nora's medications. A full fridge, the kind he'd forgotten existed. Maybe even fix the ceiling. Maybe even breathe. He stood in the rain for a long time. The money sat in his palm like a question. Then he noticed the note, folded, tucked behind the bills, handwritten in shaky cursive. For Dorothy, come home. 3 words, come home. Somebody out there was waiting, worried, missing her. Tyler closed the wallet, looked at the bus schedule posted on the pole. 3 transfers to Ashton Hills, last connection leaving in 4 minutes. He looked across the street at the corner store, bread in the window, $2.50. Then he looked down at the wallet, $3.12 in his pocket, $10,000 in his hand. Grandma at home, hungry, a stranger out there, missing this. He didn't buy the bread. He ran for the bus. The first bus smelled like bleach and wet metal. Tyler sat in the back row, backpack on his lap, the wallet zipped safe inside. Outside the window, his neighborhood scrolled past. Check cashing stores, boarded up storefronts, a liquor store with bars on every window. He knew every crack in every sidewalk out here. The second bus was emptier, cleaner seats. The streets widened. Lawns appeared. Actual grass, cut low, green even in the rain. Streetlights that all worked. No missing bulbs, no flickering, no broken glass on the curb. By the third bus, he was the only passenger. The driver glanced at him in the rearview mirror. Twice. 3 times. Tyler pulled his hood lower and stared out the window. He thought about Nora, alone in that apartment right now, waiting for bread that wasn't coming. He checked his phone. 11:15 p.m. No missed calls. She was probably asleep in her chair, TV on low, the way she always did when she was waiting up but didn't want him to know. He hadn't told her where he was going. She'd worry. Or worse, she'd tell him to keep the money. And some part of him knew that if she said it out loud, he might listen. He pressed his forehead against the cold glass. His reflection stared back. Dark circles under his eyes, jaw tight. A boy pretending to be a man because nobody else was going to do it for him. Outside, a family sat in a bright dining room. White tablecloth, candles, plates full of food. A kid about his age laughing at something on his phone. Tyler looked away. Ashton Hills. He'd seen the name on the news once. Ashton Hills homeowners oppose new bus route. That kind of neighborhood. The kind that voted against bus stops because bus stops brought people like him. The houses here didn't look like houses. They looked like statements. Stone facades, circular driveways with 3 cars each. Porch lights that existed for decoration, not survival. Sprinkler systems running in the rain. Watering lawns that were already drowning. Every block was a mirror, showing Tyler everything he didn't have. Everything Nora would never have. He got off at the last stop. No sidewalk from here. Just a private road lined with oak trees older than his grandmother. His sneakers were soaked through. Every step sounded like peeling tape off wet cardboard. A sign at the entrance read, "Private property, no soliciting. Trespassers will be prosecuted." He kept walking. No cars, no voices, just the sound of his own breathing and rain hitting stone. The kind of silence that doesn't feel peaceful. It feels like it's watching you, like you don't belong here. And the silence agrees. 845 Ashton Hills Drive. The Crawford estate sat behind iron gates 12 feet high, stone pillars on either side. A security camera swiveled toward him the moment he stepped under the light. Red dot. Steady. Watching. He pressed the intercom. Rain dripped off his fingers. No answer. He pressed again. Nothing. A third time. Held it. A voice crackled through. Male, sharp, already hostile. This is private property. Step away from the gate. Sir, I found a wallet. It belongs to someone at this address. Leave it and go. There's $10,000 inside. I'm not leaving it on the ground. Silence. The kind that makes you feel measured and found guilty at the same time. The gate buzzed, clicked, swung open slowly. What came next? You already heard it. The guard, the accusations, thief, dog, every word. But here's what you didn't see. After all of it, after being called every name that could break a person, Tyler didn't leave, didn't throw the wallet, didn't curse, didn't cry. He held it out, both hands, steady. This belongs to your employer. The guard snatched it. No thank you. Didn't look him in the eye. Tyler turned around, started walking back down the dark driveway. Rain on his shoulders, nothing in his hands. That's when he heard it. A voice from inside the house. Small, fragile. Wait. Tyler stopped. Rain ran down his face. He wiped it with the back of his hand. Or maybe it wasn't rain. The voice belonged to an old woman. She stood in the doorway behind the guard. White hair, thin as paper, a cashmere shawl pulled tight around her shoulders. Her hands shook. Not from anger, from age. From something breaking inside her that had been breaking for a long time. Bradley, what are you doing? The guard straightened up. Mrs. Crawford, go back inside. I'm handling it. Handling what? That boy is soaking wet. He had your wallet, ma'am. I'm dealing with... I heard what you said to him. Her voice was quiet, but the kind of quiet that cuts deeper than shouting. Every word. The guard opened his mouth. She raised one hand. He shut it. Dorothy Crawford, 78 years old, early-stage dementia, a woman whose own son hadn't visited in 6 weeks, stepped past her security guard and walked toward Tyler. Her slippers got wet on the stone. She didn't care. She stopped in front of him, looked at his face, rain between them. You found my wallet? Yes, ma'am. And you came all the way here? In this rain? At this hour? Yes, ma'am. She took his hands, cold fingers around cold fingers. You're freezing, sweetheart. Come inside. Ma'am, I should probably go. You should probably eat something and dry off. That's what you should probably do. The guard stepped forward. Mrs. Crawford, I really don't think... She turned around slowly, looked at him the way only a woman who's outlived her patience can. Bradley, get this young man a towel and something warm to drink. Now. He didn't move. Now, Bradley. He moved. Tyler followed her inside. His sneakers squeaked on the marble floor. He tried to walk softly, tried not to drip. The foyer was bigger than his entire apartment. Chandelier overhead, oil paintings on the walls, a staircase that curved up into somewhere he couldn't see. The air smelled like old wood and lavender. Everything in here was clean, polished, still, like a museum no one visited anymore. Dorothy led him to a sitting room off the hallway, a fireplace, 2 armchairs, bookshelves floor to ceiling. She motioned for him to sit. He hesitated. "Sit, please." He sat, his wet clothes pressed against the fabric. He felt like he was ruining something. She sat across from him. Her eyes, pale blue, a little cloudy, studied him. Not with suspicion, not with pity, with something else. Something he almost didn't recognize because nobody had looked at him like that in a long time. Curiosity and kindness. "What's your name?" "Tyler. Tyler Williams." "Tyler." She said it like she was tasting the word. "Most people would have kept that wallet, Tyler." "I know. $10,000. That's a lot of money." "Yes, ma'am." "But you didn't keep it." "No, ma'am." "Why not?" He thought about it. Not because he didn't know the answer, but because he'd never had to say it out loud before. "Because it's not mine." Dorothy looked at him for a long time. The fire crackled, rain hit the windows. Then she smiled. Small. Real. "That tells me everything I need to know about you." From the hallway, Bradley Holt returned with a towel and a cup of tea. He set both down on the side table without looking at Tyler. His jaw was tight. His eyes were somewhere else. Calculating. Already making a phone call in his head. Tyler didn't notice. But we should. Dorothy talked the way people talk when they haven't had anyone to listen in a long time. Slowly, carefully, like she was afraid the words might run out. "My husband, Harold, used to sit in that chair you're in. Every evening, same spot. He'd read to me. Poetry, mostly. Sometimes the newspaper if he wanted to start an argument." She smiled at the memory. Then the smile faded. "He passed 4 years ago. Heart attack. Middle of breakfast. One minute he was buttering toast. Next minute he was gone." Tyler didn't say anything. He just listened. Sometimes that's enough. "After Harold died, my son Grant, he runs Pinnacle Holdings, maybe you've heard of it. He moved me here, said it was safer, closer to his office, said he'd visit every week." She paused. "He came twice the first month, once the second. Then it became phone calls, then texts, then nothing. 6 weeks now, not a word." The fire crackled. Rain tapped the windows. "I have Bradley, and a housekeeper who comes 3 times a week, and 4,000 square feet of a house that echoes when you walk through it." She looked around the room. "Do you know what loneliness sounds like, Tyler?" He nodded. "Yeah, I do." "Then you understand more than most people twice your age." She told him about the afternoon she lost the wallet. She wasn't supposed to go out alone. Her doctor had said so. Bradley had said so. Everyone had said so. But she couldn't stand another hour in this house. She wanted to visit the park bench where Harold used to read to her. 3 blocks from the old house, she took a taxi, sat on the bench for an hour, talked to Harold like he was still there. On the way back, the wallet must have slipped from her coat. I didn't even realize it was gone until midnight. Bradley was furious, made calls, filed a report, and then, she looked at Tyler, you showed up. "The note inside," Tyler said quietly. "For Dorothy, come home." "Who wrote that?" Her eyes softened. "Grant, months ago. He tucked it in the wallet the last time he visited. A reminder, he said." She shook her head. "Funny. He tells me to come home, but he's the one who never comes." The room went still. 2 people sitting across from each other. One who had everything except the thing that mattered, and one who had nothing except the thing that couldn't be bought. A door opened. Bradley Holt walked in. He didn't sit. He stood, the way people stand when they want you to know they're in charge. "Mr. Crawford has authorized a $500 reward." He placed a white envelope on the table between them. for the return of the wallet. Tyler looked at the envelope. $500. That was the electric bill. Nora's medication. A full fridge. A week without the math running in the back of his head. He reached for it. That should settle things, Holt said. His tone was clear. Take the money and leave. That's insulting, Bradley. Dorothy's voice, quiet, sharp as glass. Ma'am? This boy returned $10,000. He rode 3 buses in the rain. He stood at our gate and let you call him every foul name in the English language. And you're handing him $500 in an envelope like you're paying a delivery fee. Holt's jaw tightened. Mr. Crawford approved the amount. Mr. Crawford doesn't know what happened here tonight, and when he finds out, I suspect that amount will be the least of your concerns. Silence. Holt's eyes flickered. Something behind them. Worry. Just a flash. Dorothy turned to Tyler. Her voice softened. I'm not going to insult you with money, Tyler, but I'd like to ask you something. Yes, ma'am? Would you come visit me? Not for pay, just company. I don't have many people to talk to anymore, and you're the first person in a long time who sat in that chair and actually listened. Tyler looked at the envelope, then at Dorothy. Ma'am, I don't think your family would be comfortable with... My family isn't here. She held his gaze. You are. He took the envelope. Not because Holt offered it, because Dorothy told him he deserved at least that much. There's a difference. I'll come visit, Mrs. Crawford. Dorothy. I'll come visit, Dorothy. She smiled. The first real one all night. 11:55 p.m., Tyler's apartment. He walked through the door quietly. Nora was asleep in her chair, TV on low, a blanket she'd pulled over herself. He set the envelope on the kitchen table, took off his wet shoes, put them by the radiator. Then he sat down and opened the envelope. $500, 5 crisp bills. He stared at them. 24 hours ago, he'd had $3.12. In the morning, Nora found the money. She stood in the kitchen holding the bills like they were made of glass. Where did this come from? Tyler told her everything. The wallet, the rain, the buses, the guard, Dorothy. Nora listened without interrupting. When he finished, she was quiet for a long time. You could have kept it all. You raised me better than that. She didn't say anything else. She just pulled him into her arms and held on. Her shoulders shook. He held her tighter. That week, the electric bill got paid. The fridge got filled. Nora's prescriptions, all 3, got refilled. Tyler bought 2 loaves of bread, one for them, one for Hank, who'd been sliding him free eggs for months without ever saying why. Over the next 2 weeks, Tyler visited Dorothy 3 times. The first visit, she taught him chess. He was terrible. She beat him in 11 moves and laughed like she hadn't laughed in years. The second visit, she told him about Harold, how they met at a bus stop in 1969, how he proposed with a ring made from a soda tab because he couldn't afford a real one. Tyler told her about his mother, how she used to sing while she cooked, how she disappeared when he was 12, how Nora never once complained about raising him alone. The third visit, Dorothy handed him a leather-bound journal. Write everything down, Tyler. Your story matters. He opened the cover. Inside, in her shaky handwriting, for Tyler, who reminded me that the world still has good people. He didn't know what to say, so he just said, "Thank you, Dorothy." From the hallway, a shadow moved. Bradley Holt, phone pressed to his ear, watching them through the crack in the door. He wasn't smiling. For the first time in a long time, Tyler's life felt like it had edges that didn't cut. The fridge was full. The lights stayed on. Nora was taking all 3 medications on schedule. She even hummed while she cooked, something she hadn't done since before the electric got shut off last winter. And twice a week, Tyler went to see Dorothy. It became a rhythm. Bus, gate, tea, chess. He was getting better, Not good. Dorothy still crushed him in under 20 moves. But better. She noticed. "You're learning to think 3 steps ahead," she said one afternoon in the garden. Sun through the trees, birds, the kind of quiet that actually feels peaceful. "I'm learning to stop losing in 10 minutes. That's not the same thing." She laughed. Then she moved her queen across the board and took his knight. "You know what Harold always told me about chess?" "What?" "The queen is the most powerful piece on the board. But she starts in the same row as everyone else, right next to the king. Same square, same beginning." She looked at him. "It's not where you start, Tyler. It's what you become when nobody's watching." He didn't respond, but he wrote it down later, in the journal. Page 4, 4:30 p.m., outside the Crawford estate. Jerome pulled up in his beat-up Civic, music low, window down. "How's your rich grandma?" "She's not my grandma. You visit her more than her actual family does. That's grandma territory." Tyler got in, buckled up. Jerome pulled away slow, looking at the estate in the rearview mirror. "I'm happy for you, Ty, I am, but just be careful." "Careful of what?" "People like that. Their world's got different rules, different walls. And when something goes wrong, and something always goes wrong, it's not them standing in the rain. It's us." Tyler looked out the window. She's not like that. Maybe she's not, but everybody around her is. They drove in silence for a while. Street by street, the lawns got smaller. The sidewalks cracked again. Home. Jerome was right about one thing. Something was about to go very, very wrong. 6:02 a.m., Tyler's apartment. The knock came hard, 3 times, the kind that doesn't wait. Tyler was already up, getting ready for his shift at the diner. Nora was in the kitchen, heating water for tea. The knock made her flinch. Hot water splashed on the counter. Tyler opened the door. 2 police officers, one with a hand on his belt, the other holding a folded piece of paper. "Tyler Williams?" "Yes, sir. We need you to come with us. We have a report filed regarding items stolen from the Crawford estate." The air left the room. "Stolen? I didn't steal anything." "A silver bracelet and an antique clock. Total estimated value, $8,500. Security footage shows you entering and exiting the residence on multiple occasions over the past 2 weeks." "I was visiting. Mrs. Crawford invited me." "Sir, we need you to turn around." "I didn't do anything." "Turn around. Hands behind your back." Nora appeared in the hallway. Robe, slippers, shaking hands. "What's happening? Tyler? Tyler, what are they doing?" "Grandma, it's okay. It's a mistake. I'll be back." The handcuffs clicked. Cold metal. Tight. His wrists pressed together behind him. They walked him out the front door, down the hallway, past Mrs. Henderson next door, who opened her door a crack and then closed it. Past Jerome's apartment, door shut, still asleep. Past the mailboxes with the broken locks. Into the back of a squad car. Through the window, he saw Nora standing in the doorway, one hand on the frame, the other over her mouth, getting smaller as the car pulled away. He didn't cry. He wanted to, but he didn't. 7:40 a.m., police station, interview room, fluorescent light, gray walls, a metal table bolted to the floor, 1 chair on each side. The chair was cold. Everything was cold. A detective sat across from him, mid-40s, tired face, coffee-stained folder. "Tyler, walk me through it." "I found a wallet. I returned it. Mrs. Crawford, Dorothy, she invited me to come back. I visited 3 times. We played chess. I never stole anything. The report was filed by Bradley Holt, head of security for the Crawford estate. He says a silver bracelet, a family heirloom, and a 19th century mantel clock went missing during the period of your visits. He has security footage placing you in the house. Of course he has footage of me in the house. I was invited. By Mrs. Crawford. Yes. The detective leaned back, opened the folder, read something, closed it. Tyler, Mrs. Crawford has been diagnosed with early-stage dementia. Are you aware of that? Tyler felt the floor shift under him. What does that have to do with... It means her testimony regarding your visits, the invitation, the nature of your relationship, may not hold up. Legally, her account is unreliable. She's sharp, she's funny, she beats me at chess in 20 moves. I'm not questioning her character. I'm telling you what a court would say. Silence. Tyler stared at the table. The scratch marks on the surface. The ring stain from someone else's coffee. How many people had sat in this chair? How many of them looked like him? I returned $10,000. If I was going to steal, why would I give back $10,000 and take a bracelet? The detective paused, looked at him. Really looked. That's a good question. So why am I here? The detective didn't answer. He closed the folder, stood up, and left the room. Tyler sat alone, fluorescent light buzzing above him. His hands were free now. They'd removed the cuffs inside, but he could still feel them, the ghost of metal on his wrists. He thought about Nora, standing in that doorway, getting smaller. He thought about Dorothy, her shaky handwriting in the journal. For Tyler, who reminded me that the world still has good people. Good people, sitting in a police station, for being good. And here's what Tyler didn't know. Bradley Holt had been stealing from Dorothy Crawford for 14 months. Small amounts at first, a few hundred here, a few hundred there. Household expenses that got quietly rerouted into a personal account. Supply invoices for things that were never purchased. Maintenance fees for work that was never done. Over 14 months, the total reached $120,000. It was easy. Grant Crawford was absent, consumed by Pinnacle Holdings, traveling 6 days a week, communicating through assistants. Dorothy's memory was slipping. She couldn't track what she'd approved and what she hadn't. The housekeeper came 3 days a week and kept her head down. Nobody was watching. Nobody. Until Tyler showed up. A 19-year-old kid who visited twice a week, who sat with Dorothy for hours, who listened, who made her laugh, who made her sharper on her good days, more present, more aware, more likely to ask questions about where things went. Holt saw it happening. Week by week, Dorothy was becoming more herself around Tyler, more alert, more curious. Sooner or later, she'd notice the money. Or worse, she'd mention Tyler to Grant, and Grant would start paying attention. One audit. One look at the books, that's all it would take. So Holt did what people like Holt do. He created a problem, and he made Tyler the problem. The bracelet was in a storage closet in the garage. Holt put it there himself, midnight, no witnesses, no cameras in the garage hallway. He moved the clock to the same closet. Then he filed a police report. Theft, burglary. A young black man with no lawyer, no resources, and no witnesses except an elderly woman whose memory the courts wouldn't trust. Clean, surgical, invisible. Except for one thing. The main hallway had cameras Holt controlled. But the sitting room, Dorothy's room, had an older system. Separate server. Installed by Harold Crawford 15 years ago. Holt didn't manage it. He barely knew it existed. That camera saw everything. Every visit Tyler made, every chess game, every conversation. Every time Holt entered that room alone, and what he touched when he did. The truth was sitting on a server in the basement, waiting. But Tyler didn't know that. Nobody did. Not yet. Tyler was released at noon. No charges filed. Yet. The detective told him not to leave town. Said it like a warning. Said it like a promise. He walked home. No bus fare. 45 minutes in the sun this time, which felt like a cruel joke after last night's rain. Nora was sitting at the kitchen table when he walked in. She hadn't moved. The tea was cold. The TV was off. She looked at him. He looked at her. "I didn't do it, Grandma." "I know." 2 words. That's all she needed to say. He sat down across from her. She reached over and held his hand. They stayed like that for a while. His phone buzzed. Jerome. "Ty, what happened? Mrs. Henderson told me she saw cops at your door this morning." "They think I stole from Dorothy's house." "Did you call a lawyer?" "With what money, Jerome?" Silence on the line. Then, "I'm calling Hank." "Hank? What's Hank gonna do?" "I don't know. But that man's been feeding you free eggs for 6 months. He's the only person with a phone number I trust." Jerome hung up. 20 minutes later, Hank Dawson was standing in his diner kitchen, apron off, phone to his ear. He wasn't calling a lawyer. He was calling someone better. Claire Ashford, 53, board member of the Crawford Foundation, former forensic accountant, and the woman who'd been quietly flagging inconsistencies in Dorothy Crawford's household expenditure reports for the past 3 months. Hank had known Claire for 11 years. She ate at his diner every Thursday. Same booth, same order, same $2 tip that became 20 when she found out he was hiring kids from the neighborhood. "Claire, I need a favor." "What kind?" "The kind where you look at something and tell me if it smells the way I think it smells." He told her about Tyler, all of it, the wallet, the rain, the visits, the arrest. Claire listened the way forensic accountants listen, without interrupting, building a spreadsheet in her head. The security head filed the report? Bradley Holt. Holt. She said the name like she'd been waiting to say it. "I've been watching his expense filings for months. Supply invoices that don't match inventory. Maintenance contracts with companies that don't exist. I flagged it twice. Both times it got buried." "How much are we talking?" "If I'm right, over 6 figures. Hank exhaled. "So this kid gets arrested for stealing a bracelet, and the guy who filed the report has been draining the old woman's accounts for over a year." "That's exactly what I'm thinking." "Can you prove it?" "I need access to the estate's security system, the full system, not just the clips Holt submitted to police." "And how do you get that?" "I'm on the foundation board. Dorothy's estate falls under our fiduciary oversight. I don't need Holt's permission. I need a court order." She paused. "Or, I need Dorothy to let me in." 2 days later, the Crawford estate. Claire arrived at 10 a.m. Professional, calm. A leather briefcase and an authorization letter from the Foundation's legal counsel. Holt met her at the door. His smile was perfect. His eyes were not. "Ms. Ashford, I wasn't expecting... I'm here to review the household security records as part of a routine fiduciary audit. Mrs. Crawford has been notified." "I can pull the relevant files for you. I'll review them myself. All of them, including the auxiliary systems." Something moved behind Holt's eyes. A flicker. The kind of flicker that looks like confidence cracking. "Auxiliary systems?" Harold Crawford installed a separate camera system in the sitting room. Independent server. Basement. I assume you're aware of it. He wasn't. And she knew he wasn't. That's why she said it. The sitting room footage told the whole story. Holt entering the room alone. Opening Dorothy's cabinet. Removing the silver bracelet. Placing it in his jacket pocket. Walking to the garage. Storing it in a closet behind a toolbox. Same thing with the clock. Both timestamps, 3 days before he filed the police report. The server also held 14 months of financial access logs, remote logins to Dorothy's household accounts, transfers, reroutes, all traced back to one user, Bradley Holt. $120,000 gone. Claire closed her laptop, picked up her phone. I need to speak with Grant Crawford directly, not his assistant, not his office, him. That evening, the Crawford estate. Grant Crawford arrived in a black sedan at 9:15 p.m. No entourage, no assistant, just a man in a wrinkled suit who looked like he hadn't slept on the flight. He didn't ring the bell. He had a key. He hadn't used it in 6 weeks. Claire met him in the foyer. She didn't shake his hand. She opened her laptop. Watch. Grant watched. All of it. The sitting room footage, Holt removing the bracelet, Holt moving the clock, the financial logs, 14 months of transfers, reroutes, ghost invoices, $120,000 drained from his mother's accounts while he was in boardrooms and business dinners pretending the distance didn't matter. He didn't shout. He didn't slam the table. He sat perfectly still. His jaw worked back and forth, slow, like he was grinding something down inside himself. Where is Holt now? In the guest house. He doesn't know I'm here. And the boy, the one who returned the wallet. Tyler Williams, 19 years old, arrested 2 days ago based on Holt's report, released without charges, but the report is still on file. Arrested. Grant repeated the word like he was tasting poison. He returned $10,000 to my mother, and he got arrested? Yes. Silence. Long. Heavy. The kind that bends furniture. Grant closed the laptop, stood up. Fire him tonight. I'll call the police myself. And Claire, get me everything on Tyler Williams. Everything. 20 minutes later, Bradley Holt was standing in the driveway. No jacket, no phone. A cardboard box in his hands. 2 officers waiting by a cruiser. He didn't say a word. There was nothing left to say. The gate closed behind him. 4 weeks later, the Crawford Foundation Annual Gala. 300 guests, black tie, crystal chandeliers, a ballroom in the Kensington Grand Hotel that cost more per night than Tyler made in a month. Tyler sat in the back row, Nora beside him in a dress she'd borrowed from Mrs. Henderson next door. Jerome on his other side, pulling at his collar like it was choking him. Why are we here, Ty? Dorothy invited us. She said Grant wanted to meet me. Meet you? In there? Jerome looked around. Bro, I don't even know which fork to use. There's only one fork, Jerome. There's 3. I counted. Nora reached over and squeezed Tyler's hand. Sit up straight, baby. He sat up straight. The lights dimmed. Grant Crawford walked to the podium. Tall, gray at the temples. Calm in the way only people who've never had to worry about rent can be calm. He looked out at the room. Didn't smile. Didn't greet. Just looked. I want to tell you a story tonight. It's not a comfortable one. The room shifted. Glasses stopped clinking. 5 weeks ago, a 19-year-old young man was walking home from his second job. It was past 11. He'd been working since 6 in the morning. He hadn't eaten a full meal in 2 days. He had $3 in his pocket, enough for 1 loaf of bread. That loaf was going to be split between him and his grandmother. Tyler's chest tightened. He didn't know this was coming. On the way home, he found a wallet on the sidewalk. Inside was $10,000 in cash, a credit card, and a note written by me that read, "For Dorothy, come home." Grant paused. Let the silence do the work. The wallet belonged to my mother. She'd lost it that afternoon. This young man, hungry, exhausted, with every reason in the world to keep that money, did not keep it. He took 3 buses in the rain at midnight to a neighborhood he'd never been to return every single dollar to a woman he'd never met. A murmur rolled through the crowd. And when he got there, my head of security called him a thief, called him a dog, told him to get on the ground. The murmur stopped. The room was stone. This young man did not shout, did not leave. He held the wallet out with both hands and said, "This belongs to your employer." My security guard snatched it from his hands and didn't even look him in the eye. Grant gripped the podium. His voice stayed level, but something underneath it was shaking. My mother, Dorothy Crawford, 78 years old, heard everything from inside the house. She walked outside in her slippers, in the rain, and brought this young man inside. She gave him a towel, a cup of tea. And over the next 2 weeks, something happened that I failed to make happen in 4 years. She found a friend, someone who listened to her, someone who visited, someone who cared. He reached under the podium, pulled out a leather-bound journal, held it up. My mother gave him this journal. Inside the cover, she wrote, "For Tyler, who reminded me that the world still has good people." Tyler's throat closed. Nora's hand tightened on his. And then my head of security, the man I trusted to protect my mother, framed this young man for theft. He planted evidence, filed a false police report, had this boy arrested in front of his grandmother at 6 in the morning. Handcuffs, squad car, all of it. The screen behind Grant lit up, a grainy security image. Tyler, torn hoodie, walking away from the wallet in the rain, alone. He did this to cover up his own crimes. Bradley Holt stole over $120,000 from my mother over 14 months. And when a 19-year-old kid with $3 in his pocket threatened to expose that, simply by being kind, Holt tried to destroy him. Grant looked directly into the room, 300 faces staring back. I was absent. I failed my mother. I let a stranger do what her own son should have done. I do not get to stand here and pretend I'm the hero of this story. I'm not. He paused, took a breath. But I can tell you who is. The screen changed. A photograph. Tyler sitting across from Dorothy in the garden, chessboard between them, both of them laughing. His name is Tyler Williams. Every head in the room turned toward the back row. Tyler didn't move. Nora was crying. Jerome had stopped pulling at his collar. Grant spoke slowly, each word placed like a stone. Kindness without witnesses is the only kind that counts. The room held its breath. Then, applause. Not polite applause, the kind that starts in the chest. Tonight, the Crawford Foundation is establishing a full scholarship, tuition, housing, books, and a living stipend for Tyler Williams to attend any college or program of his choice. The applause doubled. And we are launching a new initiative, a legal defense fund for individuals wrongfully accused while performing acts of civic good. Because what happened to Tyler Williams should never happen to anyone, ever. Tyler covered his mouth with both hands. His shoulders shook. Nora pulled him close. Jerome put a hand on his back. 300 people standing, clapping, some crying. And in the back row, a boy who hadn't eaten bread that night so a stranger could have her wallet back. That boy finally exhaled. The following week, the Crawford estate. Tyler walked through the front gate. No intercom, no buzzer. The new security guard, a quiet man named Paul, nodded and waved him through. "Morning, Tyler." "Morning, Paul." The front door was open. Dorothy was already in the sitting room, Chessboard set, tea poured. 2 cups this time. She looked up when he walked in. Her eyes were clear today. A good day. "You're late." Bus was slow. "Excuses. Sit." He sat. She moved first. Pawn to e4. He answered. Pawn to e5. The same opening they always played. The rhythm of it. Move, pause, think, move. Felt like breathing. "I saw the news," she said without looking up. "About the gala. Grant showed me the video." "Yeah? You cried." "I didn't cry. Tyler, I have dementia, not blindness." He laughed. She laughed. The sound filled the room the way Harold's voice used to. "Dorothy." "Hmm? Thank you. For everything." She moved her queen. Took his bishop. "Don't thank me. You did this. All I did was open the door." She looked at him over the chessboard. "And you walked through it. That took more courage than anything I've ever done." From the hallway, Grant Crawford leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, watching. His mother was laughing. Really laughing. The boy across from her was the reason. Grant didn't interrupt. He just stood there, learning something no boardroom had ever taught him. That presence is the only currency that matters. Later, walking Tyler to the gate, Grant said quietly, "You gave my mother something I couldn't. Time." Tyler looked at him. "You still can. She's right inside." Grant nodded, went back in, sat in Harold's chair. Dorothy looked at him, surprised, then not surprised, then something softer than both. "Hi, Mom." "Hi, baby." The next morning, Tyler's apartment, sunrise. New light through clean windows. The ceiling leak? Fixed. The wallpaper? Still peeling, but the lamp worked. Both lamps worked now. Tyler sat at the kitchen table, the leather journal open in front of him, college brochure beside it, a pen in his hand. He wrote the first line. Nora came out of the kitchen, set a plate in front of him. Eggs, toast, fruit, a full plate, a real plate. He looked up. She smiled. "Eat. You've earned it." Same words Hank said in the diner. Same word Nora had said 100 times before. But now, everything behind it was different. Tyler ate. Slowly this time. He tasted every bite. Bradley Holt was charged with grand larceny, wire fraud, and filing a false police report. He is awaiting trial. Tyler Williams is currently enrolled in a college program on a full Crawford Foundation scholarship. He visits Dorothy every Saturday. Dorothy Crawford now has a full-time companion, weekly chess games, and a son who comes home every Sunday. Grant Crawford donated an additional $2 million to the Foundation's Legal Defense Initiative. Nora Phillips got a new fridge. Both lamps work. The ceiling doesn't leak anymore. Jerome still can't figure out which fork to use. Hank still slides a plate of eggs across the counter every morning. He never says why. And the journal Dorothy gave Tyler? He writes in it every night. The first page, in his handwriting, a little shaky, a little unsure, reads, "It started with a wallet in the rain, and a choice I almost didn't make."
You know what I learned from Tyler? Who you are is not what you have. It's what you do when you have nothing. Anybody can honest when they are full. Anybody can be generous when they are rich. But being honest when you're starving, being generous when you can't buy even bread, that's not the character. It's the realist version of who you are. And here's the thing. Nobody teaches you that. No school, no book. You learn it from the kitchen table of grandmother who gives you her last bowl of cereals and saying, "Don't let this world make you hard." That's the education that matters. That's what you build human being. But I need to say this too. Doing the right thing doesn't always protect you. Sometimes it costs you. Sometimes you get punished for being good. And that's the hardest lesson of all. Because the world will look at you and say, why bother? And the answer is because you have to live with yourself. Tomorrow, next year, forever, the world might not see what you did, but you will always know. So, I'm asking you who you are when nobody's watching, not who you want to be. Who are you? Think about that tonight. Like, share, subscribe. Real stories, real justice every week. And remember, kindness without witnesses is the only kind that counts.